Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal with NVIDIA Daily Analysis. So NVIDIA made some comeback today. We'll further discuss in this video. In this video, I'm gonna show you a very interesting analysis and that would be very helpful. I promise. Now, let's get started. Starting with the daily summary, NVIDIA opened at 146.78. It made a high of 149.65. It made a low 146.01 and it closed at 148.31. That is 2.1% up. And this is in line with my expectation that I mentioned in my yesterday video that sometime middle or end of the week we should see some upside on Nvidia based on the historical data. But still Nvidia was not able to go above 150 today. We can hope maybe end of this week or early next week, Nvidia might go above 150. We still have probably 5 or 6 days to go before earnings. And also, I shared with you my observation between Tesla and Nvidia. So I had the observation that based on last few days of data, when Tesla was going up, Nvidia was going down. So today you notice Tesla is down and Nvidia is up. So far this observation is working fine, but let's see what happens in next few days. And also if you take a look other AI or tech stocks, you see that most of the tech or AI stocks were negative today. Amazon, Microsoft and Nvidia are positive. Also in overall market we saw some corrections today after last few days of upside. For example, S&P is down about 0.29%. Nasdaq is down about 0.09%, and Dow Jones is also down about 0.86%. And that's not a surprise because not every day market will go up. Now let's take a look at this interesting analysis. This is about what happened with Nvidia a week before the earnings and a week after the earnings in the last three earnings cycle. I downloaded this data for last 9 or 10 months with the adjusted closing price and also daily percentage change. And if you scroll down, we can see that the last earnings happened on 28 August 2024 and before that it was on 22nd May and one quarter prior was on 21st February 2024. So for 21st February 2024, I gathered the percentage change data last 5 days before the earnings, for example, this, and also 5 days after the earnings, and that is this one. And same thing I did for other two earnings cycle. And I summarized the data in this table. For the August release, that happened on August 28. 1 week prior to the earning release, Nvidia overall went down about 2.05%, and that's a total. And 1 week after the earnings, Nvidia went down about 15.11%. And in the May release, 1 week prior to the earnings, overall Nvidia went up about 0.39%. And 1 week after the release, Nvidia went up about 15.92%. And one quarter prior, a February release, you see that Nvidia went down about 6.48% 1 week prior to the earnings, and it went up about 15.29% after 1 week from the earnings. So in this cycle, probably gonna start from tomorrow. We'll have 1 week before the earnings. So earnings are gonna happen on 20th. So 1 week prior would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably starting from Thursday, we can notice. And 1 week after the earnings would be starting from Thursday. So Thursday, Friday, and then Monday the following week, Tuesday and Wednesday. So these 5 days after the earnings we can consider. So looking at this data, there are some takeaways. For example, takeaway number one. So you can notice for 1 week prior, Nvidia either went down or it was flat. So if you think that this data is relevant for this cycle as well, then we should not hope for a big upside in next few days before the earnings. And takeaway number two is 1 week after the earnings. So the data is mixed, but we can notice that either Nvidia went up too much or went down too much. So 15% down in one cycle, and before that 15% up, right? So big movement after the earnings we noted in last three cycle. And also on this cycle, this would also depend on the earnings beat percentage and the sales growth that Nvidia gonna present on the earnings this time. I hope this analysis and data gonna help you making any decision before and after the earnings. Now let's take a look some news regarding Nvidia. So starting with this one, and that's a good one for Nvidia. It tells that how Nvidia gonna expand in other countries. That says that Japan cloud leaders build Nvidia AI structure to transform industries for the age of AI. Another one, that's this one that says Nvidia to rally around 14%. Here are 10 top analyst forecasts for Tuesday. Let's take a look. So they have price target for different companies in this analysis. So let's take a look for Nvidia. For Nvidia, the price target they raised from 140 to 165. And that makes sense to me. I don't think Nvidia can touch 165 anytime soon, but maybe after the earnings, if everything goes well for Nvidia. And also one more price target increase for Nvidia, and that's very important. And that's from Citigroup. Citigroup adjusts Nvidia price target to 170 from 150. So most of the time I see that the price target from Citigroup or Bank of America makes more sense versus other analysts. Another price target increase, and that is from Redburn. They raised the price target to 178 for Nvidia. I do not think that Nvidia gonna touch 170 before the earnings, but let's hope it can do it in next few weeks after the earnings. Now let's take a look this one, and that is from Barron's.com that says Nvidia stock stalls. There is a concern ahead of its earning report. Let's open it. So if you scroll down a little bit, you see that basically they are trying to say all the expectation in this earnings cycle is toward the Blackwell chip, right? So they mention here Nvidia stock remains overweight given expectation that the Blackwell cycle will continue to drive meaningful upside through second half of the next year. So to me, yes, we need to be very cautious. So any delay on the Blackwell chip launch can temporarily impact Nvidia stock price. Another price target, and that's from Melius Research, and they raised the price target to 185. And tomorrow we have the CPI data coming. So let's take a look some historical data for CPI. So regarding the overall CPI year over year, you see that in last cycle the actuals came higher than the forecast, but before that, either the CPI came lower than the forecast or it was almost flat. And the forecast for this cycle is 2.6%. So I'm guessing maybe CPI data would either match the forecast this time or should come lower than the forecast. Now let's take a look core CPI. So regarding the core CPI, you see that in the last cycle, the actuals came higher than the forecast, but before that, they either matched the forecast or came lower than the forecast. So this cycle, the core CPI forecast is 3.3%. So I'm guessing probably either the actuals would come higher than the forecast or should match the forecast because in the last cycle the actuals was already 3.3%. So I guess that's all about my analysis and assessment for next few days regarding Nvidia. And this is spreadsheet I uploaded onto my Patreon account. So if you are an exclusive member, you can access this spreadsheet from there. I hope you like the video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you more in the next video. Take care.